if you want to build yourself a nicer house with a bigger, bigger restaurant, you're going to get a nicer car. It's still a car. It's still got an engine. It's still got a seat. It's still got a steering wheel. It's just a nicer steering wheel. It's just a little cushier seat, but you're still sitting on it. You can't cut it open and feel the material inside. It's still the same. But if you have a vision to build something big and expand it, now imagine just for that, take that one example for a moment of the restaurants. If a Muslim owned 5,000 restaurants, how much more sadaqah are they able to give? How much more zakat are they giving? How many more people have halal jobs because of them? How many more people are now being influenced by an ethical business that is not involved in bribery? It's not involved in buying off politicians. It's not involved in usurping the infrastructure of a community. I was watching a recent exposing documentary on dollar generals in this country. Wherever they go, they destroy local businesses. There are actually food shortages in the United States where there's a Dollar General because the local mom and pop shop that's trying to sell some vegetables can't survive anymore. So now people have to drive 15, 20 miles to buy basic fruits and vegetables because a Dollar General exists. And now people are being malnourished in this country because of big business.
Stand out in the job market with the new Google AI Professional Certificate. Master effective prompting and responsible AI use. Partner with AI to transform your research, communication, or start automating your workflows to save time and streamline your tasks. Go hands-on with Google's most capable AI tools. Build smarter workflows. Create AI-powered solutions. And become AI fluent in just 10 hours. Enroll today on Coursera.
Now imagine if Muslims understood that we are, just the Muslims in the United States, even for starters, we're in a country that is built on entrepreneurship. The entire thing is built on entrepreneurship. There's old money and there's new money, we all know that. We understood that this resource and this opportunity that Allah has given us, we have to put it to work to show shukr to Allah. We would be part of an economic engine. We would be a machinery by ourselves that is difficult to mess with. It's difficult to mess with. This is something Allah taught us in the Quran. You can't just be grateful, you have to do grateful. I'malu shukran. You have to do grateful. And we have to develop that empowering mentality. If young people sitting here that are going to university, the East Coast of the United States, where you guys live, the East Coast is the hub of universities in this country. There are more universities here than probably anywhere else in the world, the concentration of education here. But most people that are trying to get an education, just trying to get a job. You're trying to make somebody else rich, which is great. Start off that way. I'm happy for you. Get a job, gain the experience, learn from people that know more than you. But if your entire aspirations end with you, by the time I'm this old, I want to have this. By the time I'm that old, I want to have this, and I want to have these investments here. You're not thinking bigger. Learn to think bigger. Learn to think with shukr. And what does Allah do if you show gratitude? If you and I become people of shukr, not just by words, but by action. What does Allah do? What is Allah's promise? لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you can show gratitude, I promise you, I swear by it, I will enhance you and continue to enhance you, continue to increase you. You and the stuff you own, you and your knowledge, you and your sincerity, you and your ibadah, you and your resources, all of it will continue to increase. It will continue to expand. But understand, after all of that, as I conclude this, after all of that, you might say, "Oh, this was a khutbah, like this might as well have been a Joel Osteen talk because they're all about prosperity gospel. They just want people to become rich. Jesus wants you to get that new Mercedes. He wants you to open up that new restaurant because he wants good Christians to prosper, right?" And it was like this is the Muslim version of he wants good Christians to prosper. I want Muslims to. No, I don't care about your prosperity. I'll be honest with you. This is not about your prosperity. This is about the ni'mah and the amana that Allah gave a human being, the ability that Allah gave a human being, the money that Allah gave a human being, the resources, the opportunity that Allah gave a human being, to put that to 100% maximum use to produce the most amount of benefit. And while doing all of that, not for a moment do you think, you know what I did? 5,000 restaurants. No, shut up. No, you did nothing. I did nothing. You and I can't accomplish what Dhul-Qarnayn accomplished. To me, he should be studied very carefully, especially by you. When he goes and travels the world and establishes empire in different societies, at the end of it all, what's his final statement? And some people can say, well, he might have been Alexander the Great. Let me help you with that confusion. He was not Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great thought Alexander was great. And Zulkarnain, at the end of his entire career, what is it? هَذَا رَحْمَةٌ مِّن رَبِّي. This, everything I've been able to accomplish is a rahmah from my Rabb. Study Alexander, you'll find he's really obsessed not with God, but with himself. That's not Alexander. But whoever he is, one thing we know, he accomplishes the most amazing things, and at the end of all of that, what does he say? This is a rahmah from my Rabb. This is an act of loving mercy. After he engineers the wall that prevents Ya'juj and Ma'juj from coming, he said, هَذَا رَحْمَةٌ مِّن رَبِّي. And as amazing as that accomplishment is, to build such a dam with literally no time, because the raiding army is coming, literally with people that have no background in construction, and he's getting them, so teaching them and building at the same time. So imagine the laboratory project is the final product. That's what he's doing. And after that incredible accomplishment, he says, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي جَعَلَهُ دَكَّةً وَكَانَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي حَقًّا. And I know, as much as this is impressive, and this is the rahmah from Allah, when its time comes, Allah will crush this to nothing also. So some of you might be nihilistic, and you might have this, fatalistic view of life, like, why do you want me to build 5,000 restaurants and expand and own a university and start hospitals? Why do you want me to do that? It's all going to become nothing in the end. Allah will destroy everything. All the buildings will be crushed. Everything will be mud on Judgment Day. Yeah, that's Judgment Day. That's not now. Now Allah said, do this. Why is Allah making Dawud alayhi salam build a factory and putting the jinns to work? Why isn't he telling him, why are you even bothering Judgment Days? Come and just sit down and just do shukr in the corner. Why is he telling him to do it? Why is Dhul-Qarnayn building a wall? He could just say, let him come. Judgment Day is coming anyway. You'll be shaheed. It's okay. Why? Our mentality, sometimes our passive mentality, don't do, don't build, don't expand khayr. And because it's the more spiritual thing to do, our spirituality goes against the spirituality of the Quran itself. We need a cleanse from our corrupted thinking, which we think is spiritual in nature. It's not. It's not. These are influences that are not from the Book of Allah. These are other influences. Our book, everything is in balance. Work really hard to build, knowing it's temporary, and when it comes and when it goes, that's in the hands of Allah, like my own life. Just because I'm planning for the next 50 years doesn't mean I know I will live the next 50 years. I can plan for the next 50 years and be aware I could be dead in an hour or less. I could do both at the same time. That's what Allah expects. This is the mentality that Allah expects. And this is a mindset that can take any nation, any people from a position of weakness to a position of great strength. From a position of great strength. The last thing I'll share with you today, because this is about, really, it is about empowerment through gratitude. That's what the message of this khutbah is. I want to share one thing with you. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam compared the ummah kajasad. The entire ummah was compared to one body. Now tell me, if a person is sick, one body is sick, right? And they have a stomach problem, or they have a lot of allergies, or whatever they have, or they're very weak. And you say, how do I improve this person? How do I improve them? And you say, you should eat healthy. What's the point? You should exercise. No, what's the point? Your life is temporary. What are you going to do? The body is sick. But before the body is sick, you know what's sick? The person's mind. They're not willing to take any steps to fix what's actually wrong. And once the mind is set, once the mind is in the right place, the person is still sick. They're still sick. But when their mentality and their emotions and their intentions and their motivation changes inside, then they still, if they die today, they die healthy. Because their mind and their heart is in the right place. Once their mind and heart is in the right place, it's not like tomorrow they'll be healthy. But tomorrow they'll be 0.1% healthier. And the day after, they'll be 0.2% healthier. And if they stay at it, they're going to see a 10% improvement in 10 years. And a 20% improvement in 20. They'll see an improvement. They'll see things changing, won't they? Now think about the fact that the Prophet ﷺ compared the entire ummah to a single body. We want change now. And anything you change in the body immediately, the body reacts to it. But any change you bring into your body, physically, emotionally, psychologically, socially, any change you bring that was planned and built and developed stays. It stays. And any change you try to bring simultaneously collapses. It's unnatural. With that mentality, when the ummah, especially the youth, are frustrated, why are Muslims in a position of weakness? We are 20% or more of the population of the world. Why are we so silent? Why are we not heard? Why is it that we cried about Philistine for 70 years, nobody was listening, and one girl on TikTok from Wyoming, because she happens to be an American and happens to be white, is crying about the atrocity, and all of a sudden it's a world issue. They're talking about it. Now it matters. We are talking about it for a long time. Who's listening? Why are our voices so mute, so unworthy to be heard in the world? And you can be frustrated about that and cry about that and bang podiums about that, but until we decide that we acknowledge we're in a position of sickness and weakness, and it takes time and mindset to build yourself to a position of strength. If you're not strong enough to fight a bully, and you're too skinny and they're 2 feet taller than you, and they're much bigger than you, then you better go train. It's going to take a while. But you better be ready for that. You better build yourself up. And that's the mentality socially, economically, spiritually, educationally, that the Muslim mind has to develop. That you are the seeds of, especially the young people sitting here. You're the seeds of that. And the elders that are sitting here, you, especially like myself, those of us that are above 40, we are now turning to Allah saying, Ya Allah, empower me to be grateful. You know what that means? Just like Dawood alayhi salam and Sulaiman alayhi salam were putting money or putting resources into building weapons, these youth, investing in them, building them, nurturing them, even employing them, teaching them investment, teaching them independence, giving them vision, that becomes your responsibility. That's your gratitude. That's what you have to share. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us a community where the elders benefit the youth and the youth benefit the elders. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us a community that is truly inspired by the principles of shukr that Allah has taught us so beautifully in His book. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.
You've got a great idea. GoDaddy has the perfect domain name to go with it. It only takes a few minutes to register one with over 500 extensions to choose from. Take your idea online today.
Start advertising and get up to 1,800,000 Pakistani rupees ad credit. Launch your TikTok ads campaign today.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, it's working. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. فالحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, everyone, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I wanted to take the opportunity of this first session of the series to introduce you to some things and to give you an expectation of what we're going to try to do, inshallah, in at least the first 20 days of Ramadan, maybe even more. And there are many people watching online as well, so I just wanted to give you a heads up of how my intentions for this series. I want you to think of this, and I request to do this series after the Tarawih and do it late, even though I got late today, but inshallah I won't be again. The reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted to take my time covering the material. And I know it's inconvenient, it's late at night, and children aren't going to easily be able to attend on school nights, and there are other things going on. But I felt that one of the elements that are almost missing all the time in Ramadan is education. And this is a month for us to get a deeper understanding of the Quran. That's one part of what Ramadan is supposed to accomplish for us. It's almost as if every time Ramadan comes, we should be getting another semester of Quran education that adds on to our previous knowledge of the Quran, and we significantly make progress in our understanding and our appreciation of the Quran so we can contemplate it better, right? So I think of this as actually our Ramadan intensive education in the Quran. And which is why I need to take time to build a concept in you. Like we're so used to now getting sort of drizzle reminders, like here's a brief reminder and something beneficial and something else that's beneficial and something else that's beneficial. And all of those things individually are beneficial, but they're not building up to some larger framework. They're not part of a grand curriculum, right? So, and individually they all may be a benefit, and that's the difference between giving a reminder and teaching a course. So what I want you to first think about is, those of you that are inshallah going to be committing to this, it's almost like we're taking a course. And the course, the time element of this course is something I started last year. So those of you that are interested and didn't know about that can actually go back and catch up also. But even if you didn't do the previous work, you can still continue with me from here. And that is that the Quran has different elements in the way that it communicates. Stories is one element in the Quran, right? And the stories are actually developing in a certain way. And so even though you can study, somebody says, I'm studying Surah Al-Baqarah, and that's one way to study the Quran, surah by surah by surah, right? Ayah by ayah by ayah. You can also study the Quran story by story by story. And if you do that, you'll learn something different than when you studied it surah by surah. Each one of them coming with their own kind of benefit, right? Then another element in the Quran, for example, is oaths, when Allah takes an oath. So you can study the Quran oath by oath by oath, and get a picture of how Allah is using this device when He swears by time, or He swears by the mountain, or He swears by the skyline, or as the sky is turning orange, or He swears by the fig or the olive, etc. If you study those individually, that's one thing. If you look at the whole thing together, that element together, then you start seeing, oh, this is the system Allah has put together with the oaths. Something emerges. And one of those elements, one of the most powerful elements of the Quran's way of teaching, is actually examples, parables. And this is something that Allah employs multiple times in the Quran, sometimes very directly and sometimes more indirectly. And I decided to start this last year to kind of go through the Quran. Every time Allah gives an example, let's take time to try to understand, why is Allah giving this example? What can we learn from it? How is Allah using this as an educational tool for us, for our guidance, right? And we went through about almost half the examples of the Quran last year when I was conducting this series in Manchester in the UK. And we left the series halfway. And there were lots of different audiences were in the program, many were watching online. And one of the most consistent feedbacks was actually from students that have been studying tafsir, studying Quran, that found that to be uniquely beneficial because they didn't see it from that angle before, right? So it really enhanced even, many of you don't have that background, but even the students and imams, etc., who had that background really benefited from seeing the parables kind of construct one on top of the other, And I don't want to give